What's up? What's up? What's up? It's your boy Domuto. We're back with another video. Today we're watching a video about SideQuest animated history. How Mussolini beat the Italian Mafia. Okay, this was requested by Armando. Uh, Sorry, I want to mention that name up and read it again. Let me see. Make sure. Armando Espinoso. So shout out to you. You said, how about you learn some history, man? Learn some history about how Mussolini beat the Italian Mafia. All right, man. I love history, so shoot, let's get into it, man. Shoot, we can switch it up a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Let me know if y'all got some other history videos you want me to watch. Let me know down below, and let's get into it.
I want to tell you a little story about my hometown in Sicily and a little encounter with a guy called Mussolini.
Mussolini?
Wait, Mussolini? One of the worst dictators in history? You saying he's actually done something good? Well, I suppose he did replace an illegal, corrupt and violent band of gangsters with a legal, corrupt and violent band of fascists, so I guess it depends on your definition of good. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. First, we have to understand who the Mafia were and where they came from. They definitely didn't start out as an international criminal network with a disposition for equine decapitation, did they?
Hey you, that's not funny. Just read the script.
Yes, of course. That kind of reputation developed a little later. The Mafia began as little more than feudal peasants in 19th century Sicily. You see, in the wake of Italian unification, there was barely any rule of law in Sicily. So, peasants were viciously exploited by the local elites. Many Sicilians had no option but to turn to banditry to survive. Now, with no police to turn to, the elites resorted to hiring other bandits, so-called companies at arms, to guard their property and track down these thieves. Of course, these companies were more often than not friends or even relatives of the original bandits, and worked for many different landowners. So, it was a fertile field for betrayal, treachery, revenge, and double dealing. And it all got a bit complicated, quite frankly. But one thing was clear. The landowners were the ones with the money. And so, these companies evolved into local protection rackets, keeping the bandits at bay, but also colluding with them, all to squeeze money and power from the elites. It was a dastardly affair. And it worked. They expanded into counterfeiting, kidnapping, ransom, murder, robbery, witness intimidation, and, of course, walking around like they own the place. Kind of thing. Because eventually they did, or at least they owned the people who owned the place. By 1885, they had already come up with a name for themselves in their Sicilian dialect, Mafia, which roughly translates to swagger or bravado. They went on to bully voters into electing them and even developed their own parallel society. It involved secret signals, their own law, and a code of honor called omerta, which demanded silence in the face of the authorities on pain of death. My lips are totally sealed, Your Honor. Even before Mussolini, the Italian government had tried to contain them, but all that managed to do was to alienate Sicily's population. Now, Mussolini came to power in 1922 and soon turned his eyes onto Sicily. After all, you can't be a totalitarian dictator if you can't totally dictate the entire country, can you? And so, in 1924, Mussolini paid a little visit to Sicily. Of course, he didn't go alone. He brought along soldiers, submarines, battleships, even his very own police force. The bare minimum for any self-respecting dictator. To the mafioso mayor, Don Francesco Cuccia, this was a grave insult, and supposedly he said to Mussolini, "Hey, what do you need all of these cops for? Here, you are under my protection. There's nothing to be afraid of." Needless to say, Mussolini didn't take that very well. He refused Cuccia's hospitality, and Cuccia in return refused Mussolini his audience. So, when Mussolini, in full regalia, walked out onto the balcony over the central square, he wasn't greeted by the round of thunderous applause he expected. No, he was gawped at by a smattering of village idiots, beggars, and bums. a crowd hand-picked by Kucha himself.
That's he
They're
wild.
welcome. Yes.
I'd be
Mussolini was
pissed
having
off.
none of that. He plotted his revenge and chose the perfect man for the job, Cesare Mori, a policeman who had spent 5 years fighting the Mafia. Up until that point, Mori had only been successful in capturing the Mafia's low-level bandits. He could never touch the real Mafia dons, who were in some ways effectively his bosses. There was nothing Mori could do. That is, until Mussolini showed up and basically gave him a blank check. Cha-ching! Are there any laws getting in your way? No problemo. Here's a pen. Make a new ones. In fact, Mori didn't even have to write any new laws. He just completely ignored the existing ones altogether. He tore through prefectures, police stations, ministries and mansions, essentially engaging in a gang warfare with the Mafia. Except on his side, he had, the state. In 1926, he laid siege to the hilltop town of Ganji, surrounding it with lorries and armored cars, even cutting the telephone lines. His men went house to house, rooting out mafiosi wherever they slept. Cattle were slaughtered in the town square. Wives and children were taken hostage. A town crier walked the streets, shouting that the mafiosi should hand themselves in. Hey, hand yourselves in! Quickly! And when they did, well, in the most Italian way of torturing someone, they were forced to either drink castor oil
What the
or
fuck?
eat live frogs. I'm not really sure which one sounds less awful. After 10 days, Mori entered the town as a liberator, complete with bands, banners, and the classic balcony speech. and
Hell no.
congratulations
Live frog
from
or castor
Il Duce
oil?
himself. It was a good old-fashioned fascist fandango, one that harvested 130 mafioso
what, they
arrests
migrated?
and 300 accomplices. 3 more sieges across Sicily reaped 150 more arrests. But the fun didn't stop there. When all was said and done, Mori had arrested 11,000 people in Sicily, many of
Damn.
whom were probably not guilty of any wrongdoing at all. But there's innocent, and then there's innocent. Capiche? Si, capiche. Anyway, in 1929, when Mori was finally called back to the mainland, some say it was because his arrest had created enough paperwork to keep the bureaucracy busy for decades. Ah, don't we all love paperwork? But he had done his job. The Mafia was broken, or at least that's what Mussolini would have you believe. Sicilian crimes mysteriously vanished from the front pages, and the show trials stopped. After all, it was far easier to disappear the accused, and with them, all that annoying paperwork. Begone! But Mori's crackdown had done nothing to address the societal issues that had led to the Mafia's emergence in the first place.
Hell
All
no.
he did was to plant the seeds for a later resurgence. And while Mori arrested numerous mafiosi, many others fled to America,
Yep.
where the local Mafia branch was rapidly becoming a new international headquarters. So, in suppressing the Mafia in Sicily, Mussolini, Mori, and the fascists were really just pushing the problem elsewhere. And when the fascist government eventually fell, the reinvigorated, internationalized Mafia reasserted its control over Sicily, perhaps even more so than before. What a lovely happy ending. Kind of. No, I think that's kind of the end of the script.
Yeah, that's the end of the script. Just walk over the black plastic over there. Little bit to your right.
Just over here? Have fun? My dear friends, you may put away your violin cases now. Thank you for watching. Please like, please subscribe, and I will speak to each other again in 2 weeks for the next exciting
Okay.
episode of SideQuest. Bye.
I fuck with that. That's some stuff I never knew. I never knew why the Mafia was in America. I never knew that how they got to America. I thought it was something that, well, I never put much thought into why it was in America. But yeah, Sicily, they were being overthrown, and they were being ambushed and everything, and sent to jail, and so they shot to migrate to America. That's fire. Well, now I don't know if it's fire, but anyway, shout out to SideQuest for the video. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Let me know if you want to watch some more history videos. Let me know down below, and I'll catch y'all next time.